Well, maybe that just applies to everyone.
Maybe that's a penalty on them. But
yeah. Well, in this case,
I got two
watching
general
you.
successes, which ain't too bad.
Well, seeing the size of this this auction house, you do see kind of where the slaves kind of come in and out of the back area. That area looks like it's not manned essentially, and left abandoned. The auctioneer is still kind of hiding behind his podium to the left, where he would look out over the crowd. And but yeah, it looks like the back area is open at least. Lu Wei, why don't you go ahead and make a roll to become the center of attention?
I am so much the center of fucking attention here.
Oh, you most certainly are.
I'd say.
Everybody kind of stares at you, and people who recognize you and go, "Oh my God, it's Lu Wei! What is he doing here? What's going on? Is he a part of Shumei? Like, what's happening?" And the four people suspended in cages put their hands to the bars and shriek pitifully to you, "Please save us! Save us!"
Now, what has Watchman told you you ought to say?
What now?
God damn it, you people never get my fucking jokes!
I got a joke. I'm just trying not to overwrite anyone else.
I didn't get it. I know your name.
Get it either.
Warshak says that everybody is going to look up and say, "Save us," and he looks down and says, "What?"
No.
No, yes, there you go.
A single blood splatter on the tiger's face, yes.
I am Yellowface, so that would be kind of appropriate.
Well, if you were to get up to where the stages are, since you're giant, you would basically just have to reach up to the ceiling, or up to the side. You could literally grab the cage, even potentially pull yourself up, or it's within arm's reach, essentially.
Yes, but I can't get the people out of the cage. Or is it just a simple lock, or what? What is it?
Well, it's a simple lock, to be certain.
Okay, let me put it this way. Is the cage, a nice fancy metal cage, or is it just bamboo?
It's bamboo.
Well, in that case, I'm just gonna fucking tear the cage apart, take the bamboo and try to pry it open.
Okay, so go ahead and make a strength body check. Body strength and brawling.
I have body and strength. Oh, if I can add in brawling, that's gonna happen.
Yes. You are using your hands to beat and smash.
Three successes.
So for 3 successes, you manage to rip the rope from it's hanging from the rafters and rip it off have it break out of the wood, and the cage easily comes down to your hands, where you can basically smash it open. Now, what about Lu Wei? Sheng Lu Po? While all this is going on,
I'm gonna look for Zhulong.
Okay. So make which direction are you going?
Right.
Well, there's behind the stage where the slaves come from. There's kind of the box sections up there.
Is there any distinct smell of ozone from a lightning strike?
Well, you can smell it in here. It's just not finding it direction-wise. You're not sure. It's too chaotic.
I'll start with whatever the closest door to the door I started at is then.
Okay,
And
so
work
that
my way
would be
around.
probably, towards the box area. skulk up and down the stairs and search around, you can definitely see there's burn marks and a small fire inside that hallway, but you don't see Zhulong anywhere. It seems as though Yan the Ugly has left upon seeing Lu Wei enter. You're not sure what happened, but the fight rages on. If you continue to follow the hallway, it does kind of go down the opposite side. There's another staircase that leads down and back towards the rear of the building. And do you follow that?
Have I seen any suspicious signs along the way that would...
Do you happen to have the skill of searching?
No. But I have a D8 mind, so let's give that
a go. Roll that.
Nope.
Yeah, you kind of stumble your way down the stairs and... what's up?
In that case, I think not having anything to go on, I don't want to get too far away from Lu Wei, so I'll head back and check the other door, the behind the stage one.
Okay. Well, the staircase leading down actually kind of goes to behind the stage area, and behind it you see rows and rows of cages. And huddled in a corner, you are in a large kind of communal cage. You see a number of women, children, and elderly folks. So a couple of them are trying to kick against the lock that's on the door, but these cages are actually made of metal.
I do not have sabotage or craft. I almost had a D4 in craft. Don't think that would have done the trick either. Is there any guards left here?
In the chaos, it seems like they're left undefended.
I'm going to check for any, conveniently hanging loops of keys.
Okay. Mind in searching?
I can't do worse than I did last time I tried searching.
So, yep, just roll another d8. Oh.
I can't do worse, but I can do as bad.
So, Sheng Lipo, you're kind of like, what am I doing back here? Lu Wei, I'll need you to make another strength roll after you smash out the slave from the cage they're in.
Yes.
If you want to rip another one down.
Of course, I will keep ripping and tearing down these cages. Yeah, 4 successes.
With 4 successes, you grab the other one and you rip it down as well as part of the rafter. And with a thunderous roar, and when you rip apart the flimsy bars, the freed captive thanks you and is terrified as the ceiling and doesn't, kind of goes into the arms of the other freed one, and they're just sort of hanging around to the side. The other side of the ceiling sags a little bit lower. Do another strength roll.
Strength and brawling?
Yeah, same one that you did.
Only 2 successes.
Okay. With 2 successes, you are able to fray the rope down, but it's almost giving, but it's not quite. While that's happening, there is a... Actually, we'll wait on that. Sheng Lipo, while you're searching around, kind of snuffling around the ground, like, what do? I don't know where I'm going. One of the, maybe a 6-year-old fox cub points to the wall and says, over there, the keys are over there.
Good. Assist.
And, yes. In the room is starting to get a little smoky and dust is falling from the ceiling. Do another D8 roll.
Hey, I'm not completely useless. Or is this one that I wanted to roll on?
Yes, you spot the keys on the ring.
If I had rolled 3 ones in a row, it's time to retire this character. I've suddenly been stricken with blindness. It's no. Okay, I'll start letting out prisoners.
Okay, so you take the ring of keys.
Or
and-
actually, wait. I'll lead one of the able-bodied prisoners out, and then I'll give them the keys to let the rest out because I feel like I need to go check on my tiger friend.
Okay. So you hand the keys over, and they kind of like look at you like, "What?" And the little fox cub that shouted out to the keys kind of looks at you with like big, gleaming eyes and like with wonder and thank you. But he's quickly scooped up by his mother. But anyway, Lu Wei is in the middle of the room. Do one more strength check.
All right.
With 2 successes, you manage to bring down the third cage, and the rafters kind of sway a little bit, and the building kind of groans. While you're ripping apart the cage, you hear a gunshot go off, and while Sheng Lu Po kind of comes through the back area, you see a gray squirrel at the entrance of the auction place. Just sort of get your attention. This is obviously somebody who is not from Zhonghua.
Yeah, Gunshot kind of gave that away. Yeah, that's definitely going to get my attention.
He kind of scowls at you and says, "You've stolen the goods from my men. You've succeeded in coming under the radar. This isn't the end of things." And as the fighting rages about him and his men sort of close ranks around him, but he makes a statement to say, "Just know that this day you have earned the ire of Lieutenant Gray."
Well, you should have decided not to go after the innocents.
So,
It's your own fault.
with one more cage left, do you attempt to pursue Lieutenant Gray, or do you attempt to pull them down from their cage?
I mean, it was on such a good roll. It'd be a shame to end it, so I'm gonna go after the cage. Gray can shoot me for all he wants. 2 successes.
Do you have any favored skills?
If brawling is with my claw, so no.
Okay. Well, with 2 successes, you succeed in pulling the other cage down since the other rafter is so weak, and break them out. You hear some shouts from the other slaves behind you, as the building begins to rumble a little bit, and they say quickly, "Back this way," towards the rear of the building, and triumphantly and dramatically, if you decide to pursue them, the building will start to sway and shudder, and the roof will start to collapse as you all run out of there together.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go after Squirrel. Villager's more important, as well as Slinky Boy.
The group of you are now free, so where do you go?
Where is Zhu Long?
I couldn't find him.
That does not bode well.
Well, I didn't find his body, so it's not. It's kind of a neutral, not the worst outcome, but not the best.
It could be worse, is what you're getting at.
Yes.
So the villagers and the 4 escaped slaves that you're with, all like, let's get out of here before this gets worse. But if you have any other objections, I guess y'all can slink into the night.
Yeah, let's think away.
Okay. So the next morning rolls around. Let me just quick. Okay. So Bane.
Yep.
Are you there, Bane?
Oh, can I hear me?
Yes. Okay. So Yazi, your character, is like going through the next morning in Roljiang, getting equipment and selling off goods that you've made. Specifically, you're offloading a big bag of chalk.
Or
You're-
candles.
or candles, whichever the goods may be. You've spent the past couple months working between the Yuqing and Roljiang, of course. You're finally able to get the materials you'll need to finish up your forges in your workshop, and everything seems to be going pretty well. But you start to hear rumors of somebody named Tamra the Merciful, who came by the village the other day and spared the life of a common thief. And you remember that, wait a minute, that might be your Tamra from back home.
When did she become mayor?
But if you want to do a mind and gossip or a mind and observation, you can do that.
Well, I think my gossip is better than my observation. Because God forbid I play a talky character. That's right, 2 dice. Better than.
Okay. Well, with a single success, you're finishing up your shopping, and the next morning you kind of go about your business, and then you notice that there's kind of a little crowd sort of gathering around in the market again, and a few moments later you do spot Tamra walking with looks like 6 now guards who seem to be at least kind of shooing people away to give her some space, but it seems like she's a little popular now.
I'll close the distance.
Tamra.
Yes.
So the next morning, you kind of go out searching for your compatriots in the market again, and people, of course, are the 3 guards that you sort of commandeered yesterday has grown to 6 now, as they sort of talked amongst themselves, and there's kind of like well, maybe we can arrange something of kind of going back to Yuchin or something. It seems like it's a little better place off, and you seem to be even-handed. Like you've won people over yesterday, and if you kind of continue that positivity, they're sort of following you now. But as you enter the market in the morning, you do spot a familiar face in the crowd.
She's probably like in the midst of just saying like, yes, I'm so happy to see my deeds echoed in the worlds around me. I'd be so glad to have you with me if perhaps that could be arranged. And of course I can pay your way as well. And then she just sort of turns her head, it's like, hold up a second. Who is that over there?
You recognize that as the village smith slash carpenter slash kind of general handyman guy, Yazi. He was in and out, but he's been gone for a few months. And
She waves like 3 of her arms at once over at him, just like accidentally tilting her umbrella away. Goes, over here! Yes!
I do think it's kind of funny so you recognize his face, because Yazi wears a mask at all times.
well,
I
they
recognize your
that.
mask!
Yes.
Exactly.
Because Yazi wears a white silken robe. He's got, I don't know what they're called. I want to say bangles, but they're not bangles. They're like wrist straps that hold the robes down around his hands so they don't like flop around while he's operating. Vest to keep it tight to his chest, black swirly robe sort of thing. Triple belt across the waist to keep things solid. Sandals at the end, and a white and red mask this particular day that has sort of a false beard, goatee beard sort of thing, and thick white eyebrows that hang off of either side. Otherwise, he's a gray colored wolf. Well, wolf-ish. We'll cover that maybe sometime in the future. With white hair that turns black the further it goes down, in sort of a mohawk that turns into a ponytail.
As the two parties get closer, she just kind of like smirks a little bit and goes, I can only hope that I ever look as presentable as you when doing such hard work as you do.
I like to make a certain appearance when I'm doing trade. Otherwise, people might not take me as seriously, and I might not get as good price for my wares.
All they'd have to do is look at that nice, honest face of yours.
Oh, Lord, no.
So this is where you've been the whole time. Have you made much headway on your own goals?
I've gathered enough boo and materials to head back and begin production on better materials for the town. Yes, I would say.
Well, I'm ashamed to say we need you more than ever. There are interesting times ahead.
Tell me, exactly when was it that you became mayor?
Oh, you hadn't heard about my dear mother. She's dreadfully ill right now. And she'll just sort of like turn her head down a little bit and just sort of explain. The wise woman tends to her every day. She barely gets a word out, but perhaps a thank you or an apology for whatever slight she thinks she has. The illness weighs heavily on her heart, no doubt. But I must be strong in her place.
Ill tidings indeed. I'm sure you'll do your mother proud.
I can only hope.
Well,
But in that spirit, I do hope you'd return with us when our business here is done.
I was planning to return this day, in fact. I need to return to my forge, get the light the fires of progress.
Well, I'll try to see that our business here is conducted speedily, so I may go together then. I
okay.
don't suppose you happen to have seen Lu Wei or Shang Po around. Seem to have lost track of them. As hard as it is to lose track of that tiger.
He would be like in mid bow, like he was thinking that was going to be the end of the sentence, and he said, "Oh, I hope you don't know if you had a found." Like, oh, back up to full answer again.
Well, Shang Lu Po, since the slaves seem to be following you since you let them out, perhaps you could make a mind and observation with a D8 bonus.
Oh. Nope.
Okay, Lu Wei then.
I don't have very good eyes.
Okay.
I actually
need-
put points in observation, but I don't have much of a mind. However, 2 successes. Huzzah!
Okay. Well, with the previous night, the group of you probably slept in a back alley somewhere, just trying to, avoid things. In total, there's probably about a dozen of you. But the next morning, you make your way back to the market square, trying to figure out what to do next. And lo and behold, you seem to spot Tamajin with with a little bit of an escort, and a wolf who wears a mask, who is also a member of the village.
And I will gladly shout to them, "Hey, Spider Lady, I found them!" Over the entire market, towering over
The
every...
brief excitement she has just kind of like merges slowly over to, oh god, he's say that.
I'd like to think that came right after you said your sentence, and I look over
Yes.
at them and I'd be like, I look over them slowly, and then I back at you and I'll be like, found them.
There he is.
There he
You are a
is.
good luck charm. Alright. She'll just like sigh a little bit under her breath, but notice that there are several others in tow, and just kind of, at least be happy about that.
And where is Luwei? There he is! Okay.
And then the Seinfeld theme plays.
No, I know it. And where's Luwei? And Zhulong just straightens up and sees behind Temujin over the shoulder this giant tiger across the marketway shouting out for the spider.
I was making a Cool Cat reference, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what this started.
Yeah, so the start when I got it. That's where there he is! Yeah. Anyway.
She'll get closer, and her light irritation at like your informality just kind of fades into a light sniffing of the air. It's like that bath didn't last long, did it?
I wasn't the one who had a bath. That was the otter.
Yes.
Sorry, Weasel.
Why does everyone?
You're so rude.
What an honor!
Hey, Weasel plus water makes otter.
I know,
the
but I'm
the
not.
snake rat thing, I suppose.
Yeah, well, an otter is a water weasel.
Exactly.
I can't swim. Don't throw me in the water.
Every birthday, you happen to keep getting clams, and you just have no reason why.
Well, Shenglu Po does not have the horrific bruising and yellow splotches on his face the day he did earlier.
She sort of blinks a little bit and goes, and starts scratching her head with one hand, and then two more, and then just all six are kind of added until she just outright asks, "What happened?"
Kind of a lot. Lot to unpack.
Perhaps a little tea might help this all out.
As you see, we have quite the retinue. I adjusted to all the freed slaves. So, large tea house.
There we go. Feast it is.
Okay. Well, you could certainly, after a while of searching, can find a suitable tea house to put people up for. But of course, it's going to be a little spendy, and the people you freed haven't eaten well in days.
That's fine. Our spider made a fair bit of money from the.
I am wealthy.
And he did get like 3 gold coins, which are...
Basically, you could tap the gift of wealth to pay for this.
Well, you wouldn't have to, but if you paid everybody's, you could probably stay for a couple days in a tea house and be fine.
Right.
Maybe. Well, we'll
if you're
discuss
willing to
how long to
hand-wave
stay.
that over the finances, that's perfectly fine.
But yes, I will explain to Tamara that it's kind of a good news, bad news situation. Good news, rescued a bunch of slaves. Bad news, we lost our dragon. Don't know where he is. And presumably it's not looking great for him because it seems he started some sort of ruckus.
As he's known to do, but I can only imagine a very poor fate for him after this. She just kind of like shivers and for the first time in a while looks actually very shaken at all this.
I mean, so maybe we should try and find him. I say, suggesting a goal.
Perhaps, but we cannot tarry here too long. We do have to return to the village. There are many who need us. But it does pain me to think.
Well, I know, and we should bring the slaves to the village with us and put them up.
So, Did you manage to find a doctor? You look better, but no one is here.
I
Not
have
I managed
seen
to
the
hire them?
light.
The light?
The light of Salumar.
She'll while sipping with one hand, like take two hands to facepalm for half a moment and go, "Oh, you went to the missionaries, did you?"
Well, it's surprisingly hard to find a doctor in this city. But can you question the results?
Well, you don't look like you're suffering anymore.
I feel quite healed. And I was thinking perhaps we could invite some missionaries up to the village as healers and let them do their thing in exchange for services
Hmm.
provided.
Well, there's no telling how everyone else might take it, but there is no denying the results. If this is perhaps your decision for the one who will be taking care of you when you get injured in the future, if you can handle whatever sermons they have, then they are very much welcome to come to the village. Though, I would perhaps ask that you find one who is not afraid of spiders. I remember the last man of faith to come through the village. I wouldn't want a repeat of that for the next few months.
I'll be sure to ask them.
Okay. Well, does that mean you're heading back to the mission?
I'm not a great talky person. Can someone come along with me?
I'll go there with the talky negotiaty thing.
Excellent.
Okay. So we just had to fix a table. Okay. So Shang Lupo and Tamra are going to go to the mission to see what they can find. You're led, of course, back through the city, and the little vanguard goes with you to keep you safe and to make way for the lady. But you do find the mission like they described it. It's got the signs of Salomare painted on the doors, and it's just after the morning mass or what have you. So there are a number of like friar brothers out and about, attending to people, giving them water and that sort of thing. But what do you do?
Tamara will attempt to perhaps find someone who seems like they're in charge. Someone who they can talk to about spreading the mission.
Well, when you said it like that and spreading the faith, their ears perk up and say, "Oh,
yes."
And as you're kind of announced, by the way, too, it's evident that you are somebody who's important. So rather than kind of give you the runaround, one of the attendants goes and tries, goes into the back, and after maybe about 20 minutes, says, "Yes, it seems as though Father Marcel will be able to see you maybe in another hour or so."
Then perhaps you would not mind if I stayed here and observed some of the magic you seem to work.
Oh, of course, yes, most certainly. You're more than welcome to see the miracles of the Lady Heloise and the spreading of the good word, of course. So, a couple hours go by, or an hour goes by, and you watch some of the attendants do basic heal checks, like with medicine. Some of the more sick or injured individuals. Maybe one out of every, statistically, maybe like 8. Like maybe one out of every 8 or so will get the the bigger boon that actually heals an injury or heals a disease. But you see it yourself, and it's pretty, like there's almost a faint glow of white as their bodies are mended and their souls are cleansed. Truly, it's almost a miraculous thing. You've only seen some of the is it the lore of changes or things like that? The moxibustion or something like that can heal injuries. So this is rather profound. But it seems
Simply
to
miraculous.
but it seems to be an article of their faith or an ability of their faith. And after waiting around, you're led into what looks like almost like a military cloister, almost like a keep. And you're led to a rather imposing horse who is clad in plate mail with a white robe about his shoulders and a calendar sword at his side. And he stands when you enter and says, "Greetings, I am Father Marcel. To what do I owe the pleasure of Lady Tamra this day?"
Father Marcel, it's a delight to see you. I must say, I am impressed with the workings of your missionary, especially upon those of my own subordinates. I simply couldn't believe it when their injuries had been healed so suddenly.
He smiles and says, "With the blessing and faith of the Lady Heloise, anything is possible."
Truly, truly it's so. But perhaps allow me to explain my own position. You see, I come from Yuchin, up the river, and it appears that we might have a great need of such healing in these dire times. I was perhaps wondering if I might request the aid of this missionary. Perhaps they would like a permanent spot in the village?
He kind of, smiles and broadly and says, "Indeed, it is our intention to spread the faith of Heloise across this, well, different land. And I hear that the plights of the villages are certainly dire indeed. And do you have any things to potentially convince him?"
Yes indeed. Let's see, I am in fact a good negotiator. And oh boy, look at the time. We should probably do this very quickly and be ready to go today, by the way.
Okay.
I am in fact a legal authority in my own town, so anything I do offer them, I can in fact give them no matter what.
Okay.
And I suppose I am noble and keep to my word. If that flies at all.
Well, yeah, you can use your gift of nobility to kind of use the legal workings out of, that you're able to do this, you have the mandate, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. 2d8 plus 1d6. So which of the three were we going with between fast talk, authority, and nobility then?
Let's do all three.
Hey, plus 3d12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, well, you certainly have impressed him, and with the speech that you make, he seems certain that this is a wise course of action, and he says, "Yes, that while this mission is large and it is still only about 100 souls from Calabria, I will allow you to take Brother Pierre. He is a stalwart young man whose faith is strong and hails from the lands of the Averdupois. And I will send for him, and he will meet you at the mission gates if there's nothing else for you today."
Ah yes, I'm glad that we've come to such an arrangement, and I look forward to working with you and your, and this brother in the future.
As do I, as it is our intention to spread the faith, and it is good to see that there are members of the nobility willing to take this into to accept Heloise into their hearts.
Alright then. I think if this is the case, then the only thing left is to make sure these guards who seem to very much like me can in fact change their position for a while and come
Well,
with me.
that would take some kind of authority. Sure, there is a warrior lodge, of course, that administers the city. You might want to speak with them to
That's
see
true.
if you can
I can speak with
acquisition
them. I am an administrator. I know the laws already. I'm a noble. This is totally within my rights somehow.
Yes. Well, with the people that are following you around, they seem at least willing to show you a way. Yeah, like this is where we should go and talk to.
Mhm.
Again, it takes several hours to kind of get to that point to get you an audience, but you finally do meet with like a colonel or something like that of the regular military,
Mhm.
and you can do a rote to accept it. Otherwise, you can do a roll, and however many successes you can gain additional soldiers.
Let's see. How much would I end up having with a rote? 3 dice off of negotiation, and then depends on how many I get to throw around here. Which
Right.
was admin, nobility, legal authority, fast talk.
I would say admin and legal authority would apply.
Alright, so that comes to 5. So if I wrote it, I'd have 2.
Yep, and we'd just assume that everything went by, but if you decide to roll the dice, we'll assume things went by, and however many additional successes you can get as people to bring along in addition.
Let's go ahead and give a roll. Let's see if I can get even more, because I feel like risking it. So 1d6 plus 2d8, and then plus 2d12. I've been doing well so far, and I'll throw my personality into it. They can trust me. Look at my restrained and noble demeanor.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. Well, after a couple hours of speaking with the command, of course, they're loath to give up any soldiers, but you cite some legal precedent of protecting the roadways, and yours is a roadway on the river, and some other legal things about these men can resettle eventually, and blah blah blah. And eventually, it's decided that yes, in addition to those that are currently following you, who essentially resign their commissions with the city and take up one under you, 4 more are given or allowed to sign on with you. So your party now increases to 10 soldiers and a dozen former slaves or refugees, as well as 4 freed slaves that haven't really gone into too much detail yet.
Oh, yeah. Well, we did at least have tea with them at some point, I think.
Yes. But we can get into them a little bit later. But
I assume they're more stronger than the slaves that were freed from downstairs, because you mentioned that the ones downstairs were all like old people and children and
right, the ones from behind the stage were the refugees from the village. The ones that were up in the cages were actually ones they wanted to show off, I guess you could say.
Look, these are our finest, so everything else is obviously of this quality.
Right.
Do they all still appear to be like locals?
Well, that's a good question. What skills would you have to determine that, either academically or speak with them or get to know them a little bit better?
Local area knowledge.
Well, that's
You're
a fine
lawyer
time to ask, actually.
Well, Shanglu Po, since you brought it up, let's have you try it.
Okay. Sorry, 1 second.
Sure, take your time.
Sorry, I had to refresh Roll20.
It occasionally will do that to me as well, so no worries in that regard.
One success.
Okay. Well, with one success, these are not locals. Half of them do appear to be Zhanghuis, I guess you could say, are basically from
from
other
a
parts of
different
the
province.
empire. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the other two are actually foreigners. But all four of them appear to be pretty well in shape and rather fetching or attractive.
Ah. Do
Like,
they? But they still wish to remain with us. They haven't like.
But they have nowhere else to go and nowhere to, they're basically mostly
Yeah, we'll
wearing
take
loincloths and naked.
foreigners.
Tamara will definitely step up at that and go, it's like, I'm sorry you have no place to go, but if it is any consolation, you might stay with us. Perhaps join our village as full and equal members.
They are more than happy to do that. Since you basically are getting a reputation of being kind and just, and so yeah,
Hooray.
it's starting to circulate.
Hey.
So, or at least amongst the immediate group, all the guards seem rather happy to go with you.
It's not
It's like they
never
sign
a bad
up.
thing to have more strong, attractive people in a village.
That's also true.
Gotta get you repopulated.
Hey, the dating pool just got bigger.
So, if there's anything else, the group can make any last minute purchases or anything within the city.
Well, can
then
you?
we can,
I just need a verification real quick of something I asked you in a private message.
I'm sorry.
No, I understand you're doing a lot of shit, and I'm not trying to interrupt. It's just that I got one last thing I'd like to do before we head back to town, and that requires verification of that one facet.
Sure. Let me just quick look into my messages here.
And now to fill the silence, I will read you selected homes of my own creation. That's a lie. I don't actually write poetry. Just trying to fill the silence.
Okay. Yeah. No, there's no problem with that. So.
Okay. In which case, that I would like to, I guess, go. I'd like to go to a slave market, buy some. No, I'm joking. I'd like to go find a place where I could hire skilled labor for a set amount of time, like a longer-term contract.
Well, as it happens, craftsmen in this world are actually if they're contracted through the state, they're almost like slaves.
Right, but I'm looking for private workers, not slave workers. I mean, not slave workers, state workers. I meant to say state workers.
Yeah, some more people that have their own independent things, or are they contracted through the state?
Independent contractors.
Okay, so yeah, here's what we should do: make a mine and gossip, and add your crafting dice in.
Okay. If it matters to you, those are listed as expensive if we're using them as items.
Yes.
Alright. Mind and gossip. I don't suppose my craft specialty applies to this.
Well, if you're looking for those types of specialties, then yes, you can do
I
that.
am. Negotiation, any chance?
We'll just do it for gossip.
How about searching?
I'm gonna pass on that.
Okay.
Just because that's more of a find an item. Okay, well, 2 successes. You do have some luck in finding the types of craftsmen that you're looking for. A lot of them are out of work. So the good news is that there's demand for people who say, yeah, no, I will we can do a contract for however much. And the question though is, how many do you need and what do you want to pay them?
I'm only looking to have one, and I only need to hire them for at least a 2-week starter, say, trial period.
Okay.
Which
they'll probably negotiate standard prices then.
yeah, standard price would be 14 boo.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's like, 14 boo. That's great.
Sorry. That's half the cost. 28
Oh.
28 boo.
Okay. Yeah. So they're down with that.
Yeah, because
That's a lot of money.
yeah, because they're getting paid more than the normal amount of a worker. It's usually 1 boo, which is enough to live on for 1 day. They're skilled, they get paid twice as much. And that's 7 times 2, which I didn't multiply by 2 again for 2 weeks. So, yeah, 28 boo.
Okay. Yeah. No, for somebody who's skilled and jobs are hard to come by, that's more than reasonable. So you've probably got half a dozen people who are, hounding you to no, hire me.
Oh, that's fine. Just need 1 for now.
Okay. And you can, if this is a potential ally, you can always pick whichever race you want them to be. And,
Nope.
add the rest of it.
This isn't they.
Okay. No worries. So I just give you a random one then. But yeah, you should be good. Yep, it's easily good. Is there anything else, or?
I would also need. Okay, real quick meta moment here for y'all. Does anybody have an item that they can't afford, but would like to get at some point?
Yes.
I mean, I'm always on the lookout for better armor, but it's
Like
not
what? Like
important right
no, I'm
now.
not talking about buying it outright for you. I am a crafter, and I would spend the time crafting it, but I need the initial resources, which would mean I need to get them here because they're not going to be there.
Okay, let me give me a sec to look at the book to remember what I wanted to.
Right. Tamara's wish list for you personally right now is we're gonna need some more cheap weapons to arm some basic villages.
Right, but you and me, we've got to come to an agreement. We have our
yes,
own
of course.
contract to work through.
I mean, you clearly want a 9-dragon trident, right, there, Storm?
Well, there's a certain
rope weapon. There's some expensive rope weapons.
There's there's a price limit that I really can't get past at the moment. I think with this worker here, I can do expensive equipment. I can't do extravagant right here.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going for extravagant. I think it is just expensive. I think there's the reason I need to look it up in the book is there's actually 2 that I was considering.
What were you looking for?
One of them was the steel whip.
Steel whip. Oh yeah, the other requirement is that it needs to be made of metal.
Good. That's what I.
Steel whip, 90
Sectional steel whip is expensive.
Yeah, and there's another one-handed rope weapon under expensive. It's like the. Maybe you guys can find it while you have the book open.
Yeah, it's sectional steel whip and steel whip.
Yeah, there's 2 different steel whips. What's the difference between them?
One
I
is
guess it'd
damage
probably
plus 1 critical grapple. The other one is damage plus 0 critical grapple or knockdown. Basically, one does more damage and only grapples. The other one does less damage but can grapple or knockdown.
I'll take the more damage one. Which one's the more damage one?
Sectional steel whip. They
Where,
both cost.
Okay.
where do you see sectional steel whip at?
It's under expense. It's in the. This is a Book of Jade weapon.
No, I'm on there, page 502. I just don't see. Oh, never mind. I'm just a blind son of a bitch. Same price. Okay. Yeah,
So it's pretty much the same stats as what I use now, but it's one-handed. Which
right. That'll only cost me
use your
18
hand
boo
to-
worth of resources to start.
Which
Anybody
if you're offering
else?
this to the party, I could front the.
Let me see. I wanted armor and.
Yeah, if you can front the 18 boo, then that would be perfect for me.
Okay, I can. That does leave me broke.
That's fine.
So someone else is
I
gonna have to pay my way there until I
But I
get
can't
more.
front the money for that kind of stuff. I'll wait
Well,
later.
what are you looking at?
I was just looking for better armor, but an actual upgrade and not just going.
What are you
from a
wearing
D6
now?
to a D8.
If only
I'm
there was
wearing
a
leather
wealthy
armor.
benefactor of the party who would gladly pay for some of this.
But so far, I haven't been hit yet. So and my personality is arrogant, so I'm not going for it.
Question for you, Storm. I sent you a quick message.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was gonna reply to that.
Hushi? You wouldn't want Hushi army?
I mean, I
armor?
totally would want Hushi armor.
Oh,
but that's
extravagant. Sorry,
extravagant.
mountain scale. Mountain scale is what I was talking about.
Yeah, I'd totally go for that, but I don't think I have the money to front that.
180. That's 36 boo.
I'm sitting on 17 right now.
I could afford that. I mean, we could trade that in favors.
You're going to get me to carry stuff, aren't you?
No. No, this is like more like a mob situation. I don't know what I need, but I know I'll need it. And you might be just the man to do it.
But like I said, meta-wise, I would totally want that. But my character's a D4, and he's arrogant, and he has yet to get hurt. So I'm just playing it off as I'll do it later.
That's fine. Like I said, I'm gonna have to come back here to get the resources because they're not there.
Well, you can always send someone out to do an errand.
And that's when we find people dead on the road. On the road. Anybody else? While I'm getting resources here. Shields, weapons, armor.
I basically have as expensive of that as I can get already.
Of course you do. You're wealthy.
Yep.
Okay, I replied to you, Liz.
Anything else you were looking at, Storm?
I mean, I already have decent enough armor for now.
Star scale?
Star scale. Actually, wait, there is one more thing. It's actually affordable but rare. So it won't be as hard, but...
And that's what?
It'd probably be a shield fan.
If it's affordable and rare, I can make it faster.
Yeah, a shield fan.
Shield fan, shield fan, shield fan. Where are you? Shield fan. Where are you, shield fan?
Under Book of Jade affordable weapons.
Let's
It's
start.
like one of the only ones in that section that isn't awkward.
Shield fan. 12 boo. That comes to 2.4 boo in reality. Yeah, I'll just throw that in with your other order. So 20.4, 18 of which you're forwarding. Now here's a question I've asked on another channel for Liz. Can I use my haggling to try and get those resources for cheaper than they're actually worth?
Yes, you
Oh
can.
god, I'm reminded of a strip in what was it? I don't remember, but like in D&D, you need 500 gold pieces worth of diamond dust for this spell. Oh no, not to worry, I've haggled him down to 400 gold, but you need 500 gold worth.
Yeah, but the actual value of the 400 gold that I spent is actually still 500. That's the beauty of it.
But then the market crashes.
Yes, well, we're in a small market. We're isolated. We're on an island. Okay, what do you want me to roll?
That's a good point. Do spells in D&D take into account inflation?
They don't take into account anything.
Truth.
Okay, so if you're like working with suppliers and whatnot, make a mind negotiation roll and a gift of haggling, and we'll see how many successes you get on it.
What would this be my favorite use of in negotiation? Supplies?
Negotiating price.
Price, okay. Quick note there for price.
Still already at least 3. Let's see what you get.
1, you mean?
Oh, I'm sorry. I
So
thought the
that's
one above
2.
was also a part of it.
Oh yeah, no, that'd be a crazy negotiation roll.
Yeah,
That
I was
many
about to say,
dice.
I was expecting it out of you.
Okay, so for 2 successes, I suppose you can get the whatever you'd pay, you can get it maybe 20% cheaper.
Okay.
So not a whole lot, all things considered, but enough where it would be noticeable.
Well, it goes from 20.4 to... that was the wrong number. 1 second. It goes from 20.4 to 16.32.
Okay, so a little bit.
So I can get a boo for change.
Well, actually, if you recall, I was already throwing in 2.4 boo to cover your steel fan. So, that's just still money that goes back to me.
Well, that money goes back to you, but it's actually even less than just the segmented whip on its own.
Well, here's the order of events, though. I tell you how much it's worth, you give the money to me, then I haggle with those people to earn a little bit off the top.
That's fair.
I mean,
That's
I'm going to
actually
have to
true.
spend a lot of hours building this stuff, so...
Yeah, you keep that. What's yours?
You're effectively paying me pennies on the dollar. Alright, so I've
Okay,
got the
I'm just
resources to make... Just send me what the names of those items were so I just don't forget, Storm.
Yeah, I'll send it to you on Discord.
Okay, so I'm just having Lue finish up something here real fast, and so we can actually kind of we'll finish that thing a little bit later. But since it's around 9 o'clock, this is probably a good place where we can stop for the night. So let's start with Yazi, who used to be Jubei.
Okay, am I saying the Yazi stuff now, or am I saying the
Yeah,
Jubei
now we're
stuff now?
Now we're switching over to Yazi, so let's use this as an introduction as well as wrap up.
Okay. I am Yazi. I guess I'll let this out of the bag now, because it is actually a crime, but you guys don't actually know this except for out of character now. I am a wolf dragon artisan. I have 2 species, and that's against the law.
I guess.
Oh my god!
My personality is confident. My motto is all will be revealed. And needless to say, I did not accomplish a starting goal today.
Not quite, but you will still get 2 XP. So the next one we've got is Tamra.
Ah, yes, Tamra. Her motto is actions speak louder than words.
And you most certainly did that with the with everything that you did to get the peasant from the random steal and turning that around, as well as getting warriors. So you also will get 2 XP. Sheng Lupo.
It is not that the well is too deep, it is that the rope is too short.
In this case, the well is not too deep. It's your faith that seems to be growing deeper as well, too. So I guess 2 XP for you. And last but not least, we have Lu Wei.
The tiger slaver whose motto is I can move mountains.
And break cages from ceilings and bring down the roof of a small building. So most certainly you can, and you're also getting 2 XP. So as far as fulfilling goals go, I think if you have the goal to bring the staff back to Yu Chin, will have to wait for next time on that. But that seems to be a keeper there. And is everybody enjoying themselves? Any questions for next time, or improvements we made, or anything like that?
I'm just wondering how much total XP we're on now. I believe it's 8.
I have 8 in my records as well.
Okay.
I'm on 2, because I'm new.
Yeah.
Alright then. So next time we should return with reinforcements. That'll be great.
Yep.
I like the way all of it went, especially with Shang and Lu Wei's escapades.
We rescued slaves. I mean,
The entire conversation, should we just happen to bring back one of these missionaries? I was just like, either way it goes, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
things didn't go great for Zhulong, but he did facilitate us rescuing the slaves.
To throw in a quick explanation there, I was not expecting to play Zhulong again, so I had completely thrown it all out of mind. So when I'm thrown back into, okay, you're here and you're doing this thing, I'm like, come up with a plan quick, otherwise you look like you're an idiot. It's like, okay, well...
I'm sorry for putting you on the spot like that.
sorry,
My bad.
I'm a little sleepy, so I forgot a few things. So I'm sorry.
Well, it's
But
like,
I think
okay,
it worked
I
out
just,
okay.
yeah, I just did it on the fly. Like, every time I've ever met whatever the bandit lady is his name now that you've told me 5 times and I've already forgotten again. Every time I met her, I just play it by the seat of my pants, but that's what I did this time. It's like, okay, get inside with her name. What's next? Okay, there's that guy. I'm clearly not going to rescue all the slaves by myself, so what do I do now? Okay, get in front of him. You've got, like, a shotgun in your hand, basically. We can get this done.
Well, didn't quite work out, but some good came of it. So,
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, it is a thunderbolt or a lightning strike. It's very loud. Y'all would hear it. And that did make the point of,
yeah.
very early in the session, signaling you all with a lightning strike, so...
Hey, we start off with it and then cap off with it. It's perfect.
and maybe we'll rescue Zhulong and you just retire him, but he'll be alive.
Well, that was...
Or maybe you'll want to play him again.
That was another original thing. That was always the plan, that he'd just disappear and maybe you guys might run into him, maybe you wouldn't, that sort of thing.
Yeah. But of course, we're in the awkward position of we have to pretend to be human beings who care, but also want to move along and let you play your new character.
Well, it's
Now let's rescue your old one.
Well, it comes more down to we've got more pressing concerns, which is
Yeah, exactly. That's like the easiest rationale we can go with.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was
Well,
really
it's like
hoping that
how-
you weren't going to stick around town trying to hunt down Chulaw.
Yeah, that would just be even more awkward.
Also, it seems now that we're probably going to get a reputation of being a village where freed slaves can go to,
Yeah, with the Underground Railroad of Sungao.
which is going to definitely make the village grow.
This
Which
is
means
very
more-
true.
Which means more taxes.
I know.
Maybe we could bend
I
the
like
herd
the-
a little bit with a little violent conflict.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
No one has money quite like freed slaves. You hear me?
No, but eventually, you put them to work on the land, they get to have their own farm.
That's
and
what the
then-
free slaves love, I think. The suggestion that they need to get back to work.
Work for free for a year for us, and you'll eventually get paid.
But you said you needed some violence to fin the herd. So what you're saying is you want to put up some gladiatorial bouts? Will attract even more people, tourists now.
I was thinking just, straight up warfare with the gang. We have 10 soldiers, at least 12 irregulars in the village already, I think. Probably need numbers on that. We have all the refugee villagers, and we have a couple extra slaves too, who maybe that's what they want to do.
And a
you have
Smith who's
me.
starting to make
And then
weapons.
we have you guys, and you guys are all pretty good already.
I am shit at combat, I just want you guys to know. Do not send
Hey,
me
hey,
into
hey,
combat.
legitimate-
Spears and shields, and that's all we
Oh.
need.
Eliza was actually mentioning potentially wanting to join as well. So.
Ooh.
Oh, that would be great.
That'd be good.
Isn't it kind of late for her?
Yeah, but it does. She did mention name the sword dancer as an idea, so I'll keep or Avery or whichever name she's going by. But yeah, we'll I'd love to get a couple more players in. I always enjoy the storytelling side of things. So
Well, I don't know. I think this is about the same time she used to play in Ironclaw, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Back in the
But
old
I
days.
know it,
Yeah,
it can get late. Anyway, there's
Yeah.
just thought open for her.
Yeah, I'm just
Um,
concerned about her is all, because she's a sweetie.
Only thing I'd ask is the explicit numbers of what we have for next time, because that'll probably factor into some planning for sure.
Sure. Well, as far as the explicit numbers go, there were 10 full-time guards that you had. I'd say probably they're in need of some regular training. You've got a captain of the guard who is more of that regular soldier type, who would be an elite, but the other guys would be, your regular mooks.
Of course.
What about the guys we just picked up from the city? Are those elites?
The city would be, they'd be regulars, but they'd be ready to go. Well, actually, I'd have to think on that. They might actually be considered elites. They're not country bumpkins. But if they're
Also be a
elites, they're
mix.
they could be a mix, and certainly they wouldn't have like metal armor. They would have leather,
But they're more trained, like their career.
yeah, like the guards that you have in the village are probably militia. These guys are more professional soldiers.
So they could also help with training up the militia.
Yeah.
So yeah, we could start
And how many of the refugees do we have at this point?
Altogether, since that was a smaller village of only like 4 or 5 or 6 families, in total like 30 people.
So 30 refugees. And I guess the question in the future would be how many are ready and able to actually fight at all or start training?
Maybe only like 10 to 15% of them. So let's say 4.
Or train.
It's not bad though. Probably some of the ones who were rescued from the cages. Then I would imagine.
The ones in the cages, I have some ideas for them. But yeah.
We'll get to know them as things go on because they're probably the most noteworthy of the rescued.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and put down like 4 very pretty rescued slaves. There we go. All right. Well, this is all looking great.
One thing.
And I guess also we have one brother. What was his name?
That would be Brother Pierre, the monk.
Pierre, the monk, who is also now among us. Funnily enough, I was casually looking at like different careers that would actually increase leadership, and I'm like, well, there's Alamoner.
Almoner, yeah.
Yeah.
But yes.
I think it's like that, negotiator, and like there might be one more somewhere in there.
I mean, it wouldn't be terrible to have a healer in the party if you wanted to go down that path.
It would be a hilarious way to go down as leader of the village.
I know, we'd be like one of those villages.
As the rich nobility, I also generously give to everyone, become ascetic, and start praying every day for healing.
You're gonna be one of those bastards.
I mean,
that's one way it could go.
We're a poor village. We're already pretty ascetic. You're the only one in the village who really is.
I'd have to give up my 1 tea set or something for that.
Well, you probably wear silk, so.
I mean, I imagine the village is probably going to start expanding. We have a lot more people, and we're going to have a lot more hands for labor.
Well, the other thing, too, is that like half the village is in the city itself. Like, they got called in, so...
right.
If you
that was one more
out...
thing on my mind. Like, oh, let's go visit them while we're in the city. But I think like we had so many goals. Like, let's not add that on top of it yet.
Yeah, so we can get to that point as it is, but or when we get to it. But yeah, glad people are having fun. It's always rewarding to hear people get really excited about stuff. So, But I have been gaming now for 11 hours, so I am going to lay down for a bit and unwind. So thanks for showing up, folks, and
thanks for running.
Same bat time next week and same bat channel.